Hi everyone, it's Allison. I'm in my violin studio, or actually upstairs. Hope you're well. I want to talk today about violin posture, why your posture matters and why you need to fix it now. Whatever level you're at, you should think about your posture. Something I see a lot in my studio with students coming is people come and they want to know, how to play the violin really well. And I start talking about posture and I see their eyes glaze over and they're waiting for the good stuff. They're waiting for the pearls of wisdom that are actually going to help them play the violin really well, like a true artist, right? Posture is it. I'm sorry. If you don't have really good posture, there is no hope. That's it. So why does it matter so much? I'm laughing a little bit too. Why does it matter so much? Okay, I have made a list. I'm sorry, I'm trying to talk to the camera, which is off center. Okay, here's my list. Okay, I've kind of picked 5 main areas which are completely going to fall apart if you don't have good posture. And I'm not talking about automation particularly today, but hopefully you know that the only way we can play the violin is we have to automate small processes, right? The arms and the fingers have to automate. They have to be able to do certain actions without our active mind having to remind them how to do it or tell them how, right? And so in order to play well, okay, so this is, how does it work? How can we play the violin at all? Well, we automate a bunch of systems that have to then work together seamlessly. And if we can do that, then we can actually play and it feels easy. It takes a while to get this up and running. But at the beginning, there's a few big ifs. And one is the processes you're trying to automate, they need to be kind of mechanically sound. It's like if you've got a loose wheel on your truck, you might be fine at 20 kilometers an hour going down the back alley. But if you hit the highway and you're doing 120 kilometers an hour and your wheel is loose, it's just going to pull apart and everything's going to explode on you, because you need a neat, tight system that works well. Posture is where we start programming our systems to work together. So system number 1, sound production. How do we produce sound on a violin again? Well, let me tell you. Basically, the violin's got to go up and the bow's got to go down, right? If the violin goes down and the bow is up, not much sound. Okay, so the violin needs to go up and the bow needs to kind of come down. We can talk about pressure or weight or whatever. There's got to be compression happening between the hair and the string. So if your violin's down here, that starts to be really hard to do. That's number 1. That's pretty easy, right? Number 2, draw a straight bow. How are you going to draw a straight bow? Okay, how good are you at geometry? Let's think geometry. We need the bow to go in a straight line parallel to the bridge, right? The difficulty is your arm is attached to your shoulder, and then we're like a series of pendulums is how we're built. So how do we use an arm to get a straight line? Well, it's a little bit tricky. Now, if your violin is way over here, you might be fine in the middle of the bow, but you start running into trouble if your violin's too far here, right? So in order to draw a straight bow, we have to think about, if you imagine looking down on top of your head and your head is a little circle, you have to think carefully about what angle should this arm be at and what angle should this be at in order for this to go straight. So the position of your arm is critical. The position of your violin is critical. It's a little bit personal, depending on your body shape and height, and how broad your shoulders are. Not everybody's going to be exactly the same. But if your violin is down here, or a lot of people, there has been, I don't know, I'm not sure how that's resolving. There has been quite a fashion for playing without a shoulder rest, and lots of people saying it's more natural, to which I say, what's natural about playing a violin, really? But, whatever. Certainly can be musical, but if your violin is here, in order to get that, this is a very difficult proposition. There's a reason the shoulder rest was invented, and for most people, it will provide a very clear benefit plus prevention of injuries. I sometimes take it off for a specific thing, because maybe a particular tune I don't want one, but anyway, let's not argue about shoulder rests. Okay, so position of the violin, angle of the bow. So in order to get that straight sound, and obviously, you know, if you're at an angle, you get weird sounds. So position that you're standing at, I'm not talking about standing today because I'm sitting down. But the position you hold your violin at, the position you hold your bow at, are absolutely critical to being able to draw a straight bow and get a good sound. Number 3, finger action. This one's a big one. You know, it depends what level you're at. If you're an experienced violinist, you probably hopefully have figured out finger action. There's 2 ways to make fingers move. One is you can use the muscles in the fingers. In the violin world, there's one word for this, and that's wrong. That doesn't work very well because they're little muscles and they fight with each other and they run out of steam and they get locked. So the whole world of palm coming up is your hand is doing that so that your finger can squeeze against it. I mean, that's really what's going on. The other reason your palm will come up is if your violin is falling down and your body is instinctively saying that thing's gonna fall, gotta grab it, right? So now your only possibility is squeezing against the palm. This will prevent you from ever playing well. So don't do that. Need to have wrist out. Now, how far out your wrist goes, I think has a lot to do with how long your arm. I mean, I've only ever had arms the length that I do. I have fairly short arms because I'm a short person. So I need a little bit more of a sharp angle here. What we're trying to do is have a tapping action. And what makes the tapping is ligaments in the forearm. Okay, so I'm actually not using any muscles in my fingers. And I'm not holding the fingers down because we have it's a violin, so most of our notes are quick. We don't stick around, we just hit the note and move on, right? If we do need to hang on to a note, we've got 2 things we can do. One is, if you're vibrating, the vibrato will hold it down. And the other thing you can do to hold down your finger is if you push out the back of your hand, you are now, it's kind of like, if you use a cane, you lean on the cane. The cane itself is not doing anything. So think this is you and this is the cane. So by throwing out the back of your hand, you can apply, the hand is pressing down on the finger. The finger's still not doing anything. Okay, so we want to think of the fingers more like a tool that doesn't really change shape. And here I'm going to show you tapping action. Can you hear the thunk? Can you see the movement in the forearm? Okay, now if I go squeezy, I won't get any thunking. So, there, we're gonna get good sound with that. Okay, so that's finger action, briefly. String level mechanisms. I see people trying to play without this all the time. It doesn't work. If you're playing on it, well, everybody knows about the bow. If you're on the E string, your arm's going to be maybe that angle. Do you notice the bow and the upper arm are the same angle? Now we swing to the A string, and you see the bow and the upper arm went to the same angle, D and G. I see lots of people trying to do this. What does it do to your geometry? Yeah, it messes. You can't draw a straight bow anymore. There's a reason why we have to swing the whole forearm, and that's to keep the alignment between the bow and the bridge correct. Okay, so again, posture. The angle of your arm is critical. And the angle of the violin. If the violin's falling down here, how are we going to do that? It's not possible. So you need your strings to be horizontal. Actually, a lot of people play with them slightly higher. And that, gravity kind of keeps your bow where it wants to be, which is good. That's not good. Let's not even talk about that. Okay, so string level mechanism. So string levels with the right arm, that's one thing, but string levels with the left hand, I see lots of people, ignoring this. Here's A string. A and E, you don't really need to do much. A little bit of a movement. When you head over to the D string and the G string, you see how I'm bringing my elbow in? you see upper arms are moving in tandem. Now, if my violin's down, I can't do that. It's physically impossible. That's why I like my violin nice and high. If you see from the back, the thumb is going to move around a bit. There's different violinists do slightly different things with their thumb. There's not one strict rule about what to do with your thumb. Everybody's body's a little bit different. Some people are big, some are small, some have double joints. So some people, you might see that. I know some good violinists who do that. I don't know how they do it. But that's because I do it differently. And that's okay. But the point is, you need a pivot point, right? You can't pivot from 2 points at once. So don't let your thumb get stuck in one spot, because that will prevent you from playing well. This is the spot. That should always touch. It's a light brush and it can move around, but it's always touching. But you see, in order for that to move, the thumb's got to be able to go up and down. If the thumb can go up and down, the thumb's at one end and the elbow's at the other. So if the thumb moves, the elbow moves. If the elbow moves, the thumb moves. Those two go together. You can think about whichever one you like, but you need that movement because there's G string, D string, A string, E. A and E, you can kind of get away without much movement. That's why we like being on the A and the E string, right? All the prettiest notes are there. No, I'm not serious. Don't send me messages. I like all 4 strings on the violin equally. And especially the A and the E. Okay, I'm being silly. String level mechanisms. Okay, then coordination of left and right. Coordination of left and right. This is a really difficult thing to do on the violin. We spend years developing this. So I'm just going to tell you how I teach people to do it. Not all teachers are going to be the same. You might have a teacher doing it very differently. As long as there is a process, and it's a process which has a clear, plan, you should be fine. But move the bow, then place the finger. Move the bow, then place the finger. Do you remember what I said at the beginning of this video? Sorry, I'm talking off. Try to focus on the lens. I said about we have to automate our systems. In order to be able to play quickly and cleanly, we have to teach the right hand and the left hand how to coordinate together. And so we do that. I don't really know anybody who can do that by always playing beautiful music. So we just have to knuckle down and do some exercises. And so, in the first year of violin, probably need to do a lot of stop bows. Boom. Because in the dead silence when the bow has stopped, A, you've learned how to control it, which is really important. And B, once that's quiet, then you place a finger. Finger, play, finger. Rock, place. Depending what fingers you need, right? So we have to program ourselves and teach our arms how to do that. And then once you it becomes automatic. It does. At some point, you don't have to do slow, ugly stop bows all the time, but you need to have kind of gone through that process of figuring that out. So there we go. Those are my top 5 reasons why, if you don't have excellent posture, violin will defeat you. No, it won't. But I mean, it's really, think about your posture. Number 1, posture, posture, posture. If your posture is brilliant, everything else becomes possible. And I strongly recommend that you watch on YouTube, look in books, go to concerts, pick a violinist that you love who has a body type which is a little bit similar to yours. Like, because if you're a short, round woman, there's no point watching Josh Bell and thinking you're going to play the same way he does, because it's not going to look the same, right? So find somebody a little bit similar to yourself and watch the way they play, and take some stills, and then look in the mirror and make yourself look the same as your violin idol, because sometimes you discover really interesting things. I mean, it's a funny thing I did once at some point, some decades ago, was somebody gave me a book on Paganini, and it had all these drawings of him, and of course the famous daguerreotypes. And so I was just thinking, it looks so weird the way he stands. And so I'm trying to, stand like Paganini. And it was actually quite enlightening, because different things are possible. Anyway, that was just a fun thing I did at one point, and I recommend you do something of the sort yourself. So, Violin 101, posture. Okay, I will try and put up some other videos in the coming days. I know I haven't put much up recently, so you can tell the new videos because I'm a lot older in them. Hope you're well and look forward to seeing you again in the future. Bye.